Your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, 15 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Robin is working, trying to get our guest on. I don't know. We're kind of getting... It's kind of late now to have such a nice conversation. There is a ribbon cutting happening in 15 minutes over at On Top of the World Communities. They are celebrating the opening of a new community in On Top of the World. Stonebridge is the name of the new community, and they're inviting you to participate in their celebration with the Chamber and Economic Partnership and the ribbon cutting ceremony. Again, it's at 10:30 in about 15 minutes from right now. The address is 8447 Southwest 99th Street Road. To get there, you would head out 200 going away from Ocala, and in other words, west, and then turn right on 99th Street Road. It's right there, 8447 Southwest 99th Street Road. The other ribbon cutting today is at a business that's been around 50 years, and in fact, that's why they're having their ribbon cutting ceremony. Waltz Brake and Supply. Been around just 1 year longer than Jerry's Pawn and Gun. How about that?
Isn't that amazing?
It's another staple in our town, I guess you could say, Waltz Brake and Supply. They are at 3890 Northwest Gainesville Road here in Ocala, and their 50-year ribbon cutting ceremony is this afternoon at 1 p.m., and there you go. Just go by and say congratulations, and I've had many brakes put on by Waltz Brake and Supply, by the way.
Oh, me too.
Many.
Me too. Over all the years.
In the years, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Ever since they were located on Magnolia going south. They started out in that small building, and then they built this new building, and they really do a great job. Can't go wrong with Waltz.
So this morning we were talking about this bill in the state Senate that would allow virtual medical visits between patients and doctors. And I kind of brought it to the table at the kind of late in the show this morning. And so since we have an opportunity, I thought we'd bring it up again. And just if you didn't hear, Florida Senator Arthenia Joyner has proposed a bill. This is not the first time she's done this, but there were a few things in the bill that were sticking points for a lot of people. And now this year she says she believes it's going to go through. Now, if you don't know who she is a state senator from Tampa. She's a Democrat, and she has introduced Senate Bill 478. And this is the bill, I want to find this online so I can read it easier. This is the bill that would authorize virtual medical visits in the state between doctors and their patients. And we were talking about this, and it sounds like it's a way to perhaps deal with the vast number of new patients that are going to see doctors now that the Affordable Care Act has given more people insurance, right? So let's see if I have any of the details on this. I have to do something on the computer real quickly to find it again, because I had it and then I lost it.
If he calls in, do you want me to tell you?
No, because
we'll move.
It'll be a very short interview if he calls in.
Yeah, okay.
By the way, if you want to look this up for yourself and share it with somebody, I'm getting it from a website that I don't normally get information from. It's called govtech.com, which is short for government technology. So govtech.com, and then look for the article on Florida lawmakers and how they're debating the practice of telemedicine. They're calling it telemedicine.
Yeah, I think that's a cool word.
Cool word, yeah. Let's see. Telemedicine bill files through in Idaho. I guess they did this in Idaho. New York Governor Cuomo signed a telehealth bill, and there's an initiative launched to increase telemedicine or telehealth in rural America in general. So this is not something just happening here, although, if I remember the story from this morning, let me find this part. I think there were still 30... there were 12 states. 12 states had licensing procedures that let physicians give direct care to patients in other states through telehealth. And I think that's part of one of the sticking points. Cross-state licensure is one of the biggest hurdles. In a 2012 interview with the website that I'm getting this from, Government Technology, Greg Billings, who is the executive director of the Center for Telehealth and eHealth Law, said only 12 states had licensing procedures that let physicians give direct care to patients in other states through telehealth. If this goes through in Florida, what you might see would be medical kiosks. Gosh, they could be anywhere. They could be in the mall. They could be in your doctor's office. You could go into the doctor's office and perhaps instead of seeing, I don't know how this would work. I mean, if the doctor was in the same building, or you could have it at your employ. If you work at, I guess it would have to be a large employer. You know, hey, boss man, I'm sick. I need to go to the doctor. No, go to the kiosk and let the doctor look at you over there. And so that's how this would work in essence, correct?
Correct.
That's what it sounds like to you, right?
It does.
All right. So one of the other sticking points has been compensation. Sam Miller, and we mentioned this morning, who's a spokesperson for the Florida Insurance Council, said that insurers don't want to pay the same amount as they would have paid for a doctor who gets an in-person visit, which I'm not so sure why that would be fair.
Yeah, because it's still their time, it's still their professionalism, and still their moment.
What I think it was pointed out this morning a couple of times was the fact that if you have an internet connection or like a Skype kind of a connection between you and your doctor, how easy will it be to fool a doctor into committing some kind of fraud?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, anyway, I guess that's up for our legislators to talk about. So Senator Arthenia Joyner removed the language last month that would have required Medicaid to pay equal rates of reimbursement. So they've already handled that part of it. When asked by Government Technology if reimbursement differences might dissuade providers from offering telemedicine, in other words, the doctor's going to get less medicine, so why should he see anybody through a computer? Mm-hmm. She replied that payment for services remains a negotiating point between the doctor and the patient. So,
okay.
Or the doctor and the insurance company in most cases. She said in a quote, in some cases, the insurance payer may also be providing more than monetary reimbursement initially. They may also be providing the equipment necessary to conduct the telemedicine visits. So some insurers and providers might argue that the payment parity would preclude these unique payment arrangements. Really? So the insurance companies would be setting up, let's say, the kiosk at your job. Let's say you work in a factory with a lot of people. I mean, it wouldn't make sense here. We only have a dozen people, if that. Right?
Right. Exactly.
The practice of meeting with doctors over the internet for minor ailments has gained popularity in the last decade, particularly as broadband connectivity has expanded. Prisons are experimenting, it says here, with virtual medical appointments for inmates. And again, the medical kiosks have been installed already in some municipal buildings to help local government employees better manage their sick hours.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Why? If you're okay, well,
I mean, if you have sick hours, you should be able to take them if you feel you're ill. I mean, that's not going to keep you from being ill.
So, I mean, I don't want to be a stick in the mud and say this technology thing is getting too out of hand, but maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. What do you think? If you want to call in and express your thoughts, you can. 622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry, Robin. Basically, we do have some of this stuff already in use. Personally, I have a heart monitor that monitors a pacemaker and also what it's doing, and actually can see if it's working properly and how the battery's doing and all this other good stuff. And then again, we also have other techniques where they can monitor people in a remote situation. A lot of tests that are done are like 24-hour tests where you wear a monitor, and some of the stuff is out there. So I guess it's just a matter of getting into it a little more deeply as far as the physicians and the medical fields are concerned, i.e. even hospitals probably can do this.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be opposed to it. I just wondered what everybody thought about it. So you're okay with it in general?
In general, but I guess like anything, it can be abused.
Okay, thank you.
Basically, I think it's a time that has come.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
anyway,
Yeah,
have a good day, guys.
Thank you, Sonny. Everything changes, right? In 2007, real quickly, and we have another call, the Federal Communications Commission dedicated over $417 million. This was 2007. To $417 million for the construction of 69 statewide or regional broadband telehealth networks in 42 states and 3 U.S. territories under the Rural Health Care Pilot Program. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Good morning. You're on the air.
That's exactly what I was about to tell you. Out in the Midwest areas where there's miles and miles where there's no hospital or doctor. I think a couple of years ago they started experimenting with something of that nature. And with the shortage, especially of general practitioners and stuff, with primary care physicians, you're going to have to do something in the future because the shortage, because most of them are retiring. They're at the age now where they're like older than you and I. So,
well, that's pretty old.
Yeah. We're older than Alaska and Hawaii, so we're pretty old.
We're older than dirt. So, but anyway, that's probably that's what's going to happen in the future. The question will become, like you say, the insurance companies and stuff. But it's going to happen. They already experiment with it out of Midwest. Because out there, the doctors are so far. You can't get to the hospital or doctor anything, especially like on some of those reservations and stuff out there.
Yeah, right.
You guys have a good day, and I'll go get my walking stick.
Thank you, Lynn. Well, you know how I can see this being very beneficial. The folks who are in assisted living facilities, nursing homes, the ones who have a hard time traveling, and maybe there's a time element, and maybe there's a travel element, or something inconvenient about traveling, or maybe the assisted living facility. Let's say they have a van. And the van holds, 6 people, 7 people maybe at most, and they've got to run around town to all the different doctors. This would be a way
it would
to alleviate some of that problem.
Yeah, because usually most of the assisted living facilities have nurses on staff, so the nurse can be with the patient while the patient makes the call to the doctor, and then you can have, the nurse right there talking about medication increase or decrease or something.
A good point. So it's kind of a hybrid of having somebody with you and somebody virtual.
Exactly.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry Robin. It's funny, your last call reminded me that we have this to a certain extent in ambulances. Let's say you have a heart patient and you had a heart attack, and they get to the house and they load them in the ambulance and everything else. They hook them up, and they actually can transmit everything going on, like the heart rate, EKGs, the blood pressure and everything remotely to the doctor, and the doctor can tell the EMT over the system whether to use nitroglycerin or whatever other kind of injection, adrenaline or whatever to keep the person alive till he gets to the hospital. It's happening already, but I don't know if you say it's not widespread though. Again, have a good day.
Thank you, Sonny. The story out of Idaho has an interesting caveat. Is that the word? This was from March 10th, so this is a week ago or so, and it says, 2 lines of anti-abortion language tucked into a larger telemedicine bill have drawn objections from a handful of Idaho House and Senate Democrats.
That ruins everything when they sneak things into those bills.
Yeah, what makes that unusual is that the legislation was sponsored by House Minority Leader John Rush of Lewiston, and it has flown through the legislature with almost no negative testimony. The measure, known as the Idaho Telehealth Access Act, passed the House on a 66-3 vote last week, and that would have been 2 weeks ago. It earned a favorable recommendation from the Senate Health and Welfare Committee. The purpose of the bill is to facilitate the increasing use of telehealth services, which include prescriptions, diagnosis, consultations, and other healthcare practices that are provided from a long distance via computer or telecommunications technology. So I guess that's similar to the one they're looking at in Florida, although I don't know that there's any anti-abortion language in it. Regardless of how I feel about abortion, I'm with you on this. I don't think they should tuck anything else into any bill.
No.
Every bill should be just about the issue at hand. All right, we'll take a little break. We will be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. An ongoing hostage situation and deadly attack at a tourist site in Tunisia.
From the Interior Ministry of Tunisia, 8 people were killed, 1 Tunisian, 7 foreigners, tourists. And reports are maybe as many as 30 tourists are being held hostage at the museum. Apparently about 200 or so were able to escape.
Fox's Greg Palcott says the attack took place at a leading museum in the capital.
This involved individuals dressed in army gear, military gear, at least 2, maybe 3, heavily armed.
Police in eastern North Carolina say 3 young people have been stabbed to death, 2 others hurt in an attack at a home last night. A suspect is in custody. And a letter addressed to the White House, which had tested presumptive positive for cyanide, will have a 3rd test on it. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Ever wash your grimy hands with normal soap and use the nice towel to dry them?
What?
That's a mistake you won't forget. And that's why there's Napa Hand Cleaner for $1.99. Made to conquer the job after you're done conquering the job. $1.99 and some clean hands. Now, go use that nice towel. Daredevil. Just refold it when you're done. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. 15-ounce hand cleaner. Offer expires 3/31/15.
In the time you've spent listening to this radio spot, you could have completed and submitted an entire expense report with a simple picture of your receipt. That's all it takes for you to get back to work and for your business to run more efficiently. To learn more and discover all the ways Concur helps manage your company's expenses, just go to tryconcur.com for a free test drive.